Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and we are returning to Master of Command, a game by Armchair History Interactive, the company behind the, well I guess for now, YouTube channel of the Armchair Historian. He's kind of announced, hey, next year there isn't going to be any more Armchair Historian. Hasn't said why yet. There's been no announcement about the game other than he's continual patching, so maybe he's going to be focusing on that. Not really sure. I think he said he was going to post a video explaining what's going on early next year, so we'll see. But in any event, Master of Command very much still alive, and we've done a couple of campaigns of this game. There's been a few patches that have come out recently, but we've done a couple of campaigns of this game with sort of its procedurally generated maps and sort of a little bit of roguelike elements of this army builder management game with tactical combat in the 18th century. What we have not tried yet is the Rise of Fredrick campaign. I don't really know where this is supposed to fall. I don't know if it's really supposed to be historical or if it's at least loosely based on history. But the new campaigns are, I mean, there's nothing historical about this. By the way, I believe they announced they're adding a new German faction, like the German states faction, because right now you've got Prussia, you've got Austria, but you don't have like the other states. So I think they're adding a new country that'll be, I think, like a free DLC. So for whatever it's worth. But we're going to be doing the Rise of Fredrick campaign, which is kind of the closest thing to like a story-based campaign as far as I can tell here. You've got 4 chapters: The Shadow of Molwitz, March to Redemption, King's Gambit, and Fight for Survival. So we're going to do the first chapter. I think each chapter is one battle. So again, it's a little bit different than this like open world, strategy, roguelike type thing. I'm assuming the army is provided to us rather than us building it, but I don't really know. So let's go ahead and jump in here and check it out.
Ich bin Friedrich, König in Preußen. Als ich die Thronfolge antrat, waren wir ein Kleinstaat, respektiert, aber niemals gefürchtet. Meine erste Schlacht, Molwitz, hätte ein Kunststück aus Disziplin und Strategie sein sollen. Stattdessen schickte man mich vom Schlachtfeld. Generalfeldmarschall Schwerin, meines Vaters vertrauenswürdigster General, gewann an jenem Tag ohne mich. Molwitz war meine Schuh. Die Kavallerie wurde inzwischen reformiert. Die Infanterie, die ohne mich kämpfte, verwandelte ich in eine Streitmacht, welche niemals ins Wanken gerät. Und diesmal stehe ich mit meinen Männern bis zum Ende.
Eure Majestät, ein Verband österreichischer Grenzer, 2, vielleicht 3 Bataillone, wurden bei der Überquerung der Neiße gesichtet. Scheinbar sind sie sich unserer Präsenz unbewusst.
Dann werden sie nicht mit einem Gefecht rechnen. Wir greifen an.
So I assume this is like an attempt to tell the story of Frederick's career, maybe, through a couple of battles. So, okay. Old Fritz. Yeah. Alright, so we've got a deployment, like I said, just straight to battle, no marching around on a campaign. You can see here we've got the Grenadiers, Hagen. We've got, what kind of weapons are these in Potsdam Basic? We've got the Musketeers, Anhalt Dessau, also Potsdam Basic. The Musketeers of Berwyn, also Potsdam. So again, we don't get to control our troops' weaponry. We have a Hussars, or Hussars, or whatever, of Grun, no guns, just Hussar sabers, and then Frederick II von Prussian, his HQ. We're just kind of in a line formation here. It is snowy. We have no artillery, very small initial engagement. The enemy has a Grenadier Fusilier, they tend to be riflemen, a Grenadier Sharpshooter, so they have light infantry, which is the bane of my existence. A Grenadiers, and then they also have a cavalry unit as well. I don't see anything else for the generals, so I think they just have the Grenadier Hussars. So we each have one Hussar. We each have 2 line troops. Well, we have 3 line troops. They have 2 line troops and a light infantry. So I don't know that we need to do anything else with the deployment. I guess maybe they'll come at me. So I suppose to that end, let's go ahead and deploy up here along this fence line. Give us some cover. Extend these guys out here wide right into the open. We'll put the Other infantry here, also along this sort of hedgerow or fence line. Maybe give us some cover. If we can get up there before the enemy, the light infantry might beat us to the punch. And then we can put our cavalry up this way. I suppose we can always charge our cavalry on the enemy light infantry if they get too close. And then we can put our general back here behind the sort of center regiment here. So musketeers on the left, grenadiers on the right, cavalry in reserve, and the general. This is the first chapter of the 4 chapters of the Fredrick the Great campaign, or the Rise of Fredrick campaign. I think it's in the shadow of... I forget the name of the battle. It just told us that we got defeated in our first fight. Alright, so thankfully for us, the enemy skirmishers are waiting for the second line of infantry to form up, I believe, before they come at us. So actually they have 1 grenadier company, or regiment, and 1 fusilier, and then the light infantry. But the light infantry is kind of acting as a screen, rather than moving up on its own. And then the enemy cavalry is still waiting back in reserve. I'd be interested if the enemy holds their position and expects us to come attack them. That would be a different experience than what we've had so far. I'm hoping to get along these hedges before the enemy comes up on us, because it should give us a chance to get some nice... shots at the enemy, because if they try and come at us across water, even though water's not very well represented in the game, it is, you know, it is an impediment. It does slow the enemy down, which does make them vulnerable if they're trying to get at you while they have to, you know, run through water. I might have to charge these sharpshooters off, though, with my hussars, so I might have to waste the cavalry to waste the enemy light infantry. Let's go ahead and get you guys up at the double, because the enemy is coming at us more quickly than I would like. Alright, so a nice little initial volley there. We've also sort of L'd the grenadiers on Hagen here, so they can perhaps fire into the flank of the enemy as they come up. Alright, we're taking some casualties in the Bervin musketeers. Enemy looks like they want to try and go to our left with their cavalry. I'm inclined to let them, but I will keep my cavalry behind the lines. Okay, so we're actually dealing the enemy sharpshooters a decent amount of damage here. A lot of volleys. We are strung out in a long line, so we do have the advantage of a lot of rifles or a lot of muskets firing on the enemy. I think those Grens or Fusiliers are... I mean, they're certainly coming at us. Our L kind of has the enemy in a bit of a flanked position. Grenadiers are sitting in water. That can't be good for their morale, I wouldn't think. Well, all our boys, despite the fact that we're dealing with enemy musketry, light infantry musketry, all of our boys have inflicted more casualties on they than they on us. Which is not what I'm used to when fighting with light infantry, so I don't want to change anything. We'll just let that continue to be a thing. I'll move my general forward a little bit. Maybe we can get both of these regiments in his cover. Move Fredrick up, get the morale up a bit. Keep our cavalry in reserve if the enemy hussars charge us. But no reason to waste anything right now. The fight seems to be going in our favor. Blood in the snow. Yeah, I think these sharpshooters are going to retreat. They are. I wonder if these are just kind of almost like tutorial missions, because this seems pretty straightforward and simple so far. Now it's 3 regiments on 2. There they go. Alright, we're going to move our cavalry over to the left. If the enemy's going to try and charge us to... Oh, fudge. They fired right before. Here they come. I don't want to charge through the water, though. Alright, so we're bracing. We outnumber the enemy 3-1. My cavalry is not... I don't want them in the water, but it's gonna burn their fatigue. I think my infantry will hold. I think the enemy is gonna break and run. I think this fight's over. There they go. Alright, so now all we have to do is finish off these enemy troops. I think, unless there's reinforcements coming at some point. How many troops do they have here? 800? Can we get one volley on the troops in the water and then we'll charge them with cavalry, maybe? The enemy's down to 700, just over 800 men. We're charging with 500. Frontal cavalry charge into the water. But I would think the enemy's morale is already kind of toast. Yep, victory. That was pretty easy. Okay. Is that... I really hope the chapter is more... That's all the chapter is? Okay. So we won the first battle of the Rise of Fredrick campaign, and now we're on to the second chapter, March to Redemption.
Der Winter in Schlesien gab uns Zuversicht. Unser Scharmützel gegen die Grenzer war eine sorgfältige und präzise Angelegenheit. Nun jedoch erreicht uns eine große österreichische Streitmacht bei Chotusitz in Böhmen. Und ich sitze einen guten Tagesmarsch von meinen Männern entfernt. Wir müssen die Nacht durchmarschieren, um die Armee zu retten. Dies wird meine wahre Herausforderung. Meine Chance, die Schande von Mollwitz reinzuwaschen.
Friedrich, die linke Flanke ist am Zusammenbrechen. Meine Kavallerie kann nicht länger standhalten. Solltet ihr zögern, so drohen wir die Schlacht zu verlieren.
Mollwitz war mit der Armee meines Vaters. In Chotusitz wird es meine sein. Eilschritt! Wir müssen zuschlagen, bevor die Österreicher unsere Linie durchbrechen.
Okay, so, you know, it'd be cool is if there were battles where, like, the AI was fighting, then our troops came on the field, and then we commanded, like, a part of the fight, kind of like the way that Scourge of War handles it, but I suspect this does not. Still, that would be a cool little feature, like, you'd add more of the... Well, we certainly have a bigger army. We got 3 brigades now, but there's no other fight ongoing that we're racing to the rescue on. So it looks like we've got Austrian Fusiliers on the right, our right, their left. In the center, cuirassiers. In the rear, they've got a cavalry, you know, of dragoons and hussars. So 3 cavalry units for them. More Fusiliers, Hungarian Fusiliers. And then 1 of Grenzer Grenadiers. And then they've still got the Grenzer sharpshooters in the middle. And they've got Austrian veteran artillery. You know, we have 2 batteries of artillery, field artillery, both. 6-pound iron guns for both. I assume this will be similar to the other fight. Let's do this. Let's put our guns, let's post them on this hill. I'll have to move them forward a little bit, which is fine. Alright, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to post the artillery on this hill. Bend the infantry along this way, use this rear hedge here, and then refuse in the corner of this town to kind of have like a shallow horseshoe. We're not going to try and defend throughout the entire town to the north. So let's do that. We can anchor a unit in the rear here on this hill. Maybe we can put one of the batteries of artillery on that hill, actually. So 1 battery up here with some nice elevation. They can unlimber already. Put the cavalry on the left. These grenadiers can go here. Oh wait, these are hussars. Alright, muskets Lamont can go here. Hagen extends there. Muskets Bach here. I don't know if this is a smart formation. We'll see. It does leave me some room to have some reserves. We could actually push forward a little bit into the town. Keep some of that cover a little bit better. Fredrick can hang out in this wooded area here on the left. Put some reserves here too. We're a little short on cavalry, I think. I think that's the... Well, we've got three brigades of it, I guess, or 3 regiments of it. Alright, I'll number these guys. Artillery on the right and left flanks. Dragoons anchoring our left near the town. Put these guys in the town. Crosshairs in the cover of the woods. Cover this fence line. I like that we've got the artillery advantage, 1 battery versus 2. I don't like that they've got the light infantry, but such is life. Not everything's perfect. We have a little bit of a disjointed line, but I think that's sometimes required if you want to maintain the advantage here. Also, 2 of these regiments may be a little bit overextended on the right. We may not need them. But I like the elevation advantage. I like having the artillery on each of these heights. Okay. One regiment here in reserve. If the enemy breaks us, the cavalry can sort of act as a fireman. We'll see. I don't know if this is a sound disposition or not. Okay, let's speed things up a little bit. Enemy's still coming on. Enemy artillery's firing on us now. Are they firing at that artillery, or who are they shooting at? We've opened up as well. I don't love shooting at the enemy light infantry in the center, but the one benefit is if you shoot long, or if you just don't do a good job, the ball's going to skip into the lines of troops behind you. They must have better ranged... I've got troops on hills, and I can't hit them from there, although my troops are further forward relative to... Feels like a waste to shoot at these guys, though. Let's see if we hit anything with the second volley. A few. Probably not worth it. Maybe we should shoot at the troops behind him, the infantry. We got 5 in the front rank. The balls must have skipped and done some damage elsewhere. Maybe not, I'm not sure. These guys are sort of the tip of the salient. These are the most vulnerable, I think. They also have a shorter line of muskets. Let's switch over here. I'd rather have both of my batteries concentrate on the same target. These guys in the town have much better cover, so they should be a little more protected. 87 casualties. The first volley, though, did 22 damage to the enemy sharpshooters. Sharpshooters coming up trying to engage us. They're already down 100 men. Enemy cavalry might be trying to flank me. Let's switch our artillery to focus on the cavalry on that flank. I don't think these skirmishers are going to last long. They're already down almost 200, well, over 100 men, 150 men. Alright, wheel and engage. The enemy's almost down 200 men on that regiment. Rotating the fire. Alright, nice. 30 casualties, 2 losses. I still think Hagen's troops are going to be the most likely to break from our front right now. Enemy cavalry maybe trying to get around us to our artillery, so we'll switch the hussars around there to protect. They really can't hit, and this cavalry is demonstrating against our right, so I don't feel super comfortable bringing these guys forward to help against the Fusiliers flanking us. Oh god, Bork's boys are also losing heavy. I think the right flank's going to be in more immediate danger. We'll shift our reserve regiment over that way. The boys in the town are doing better. They've already pushed back one of the enemy regiments. Hussars are trying to come back around our flank here. Alright, good job, boys. Turn and address the enemy on your flank. Prussian morale wins the day on each extreme of the flank so far. These sharpshooters are hanging in there, though. They're game. Should have countercharged. That's bad. No, maybe not. It looks actually like we probably routed those troops. And then shattered them. Good job, boys. Alright, left flank repulsed that first enemy cavalry charge. They got another regiment out that way. Fudge! Rotate and fire into the rear. Those cuirassiers are going to wreck my hussars. Hopefully the infantry can turn and fire on them before they can rout my guns. God damn it. There go the guns. I don't think they're going to do well versus my infantry, though. Nope, they quickly shattered. Alright, that flank's secure. No, don't charge. I just want you to engage them with your muskets. Pausing is probably your friend in a game like this, but I don't pause enough. Definitely a more near-run thing in this fight, but I think we're going to be fine. I'm still surprised those light infantry have not broken yet. So artillery broke. Dragoons versus dragoons on the left. But then I have my cuirassiers charging them as well. Alright, good job, Dragoons. Can they chase these Dragoons down, or are they gonna get out of there before they can chase them off? Looks like they're gonna get out of there before they can chase them off. Alright, try and form up on the flank of these Hungarian Fusiliers. Same for the Dragoons. Enemy cavalry's wrecked. I think we routed all 3 of their regiments. Right flank Fusiliers are in trouble. We've got 2 regiments lined up against them. Bork's boys have done the dirty work. They've taken 600 casualties, only inflicted 300 of their own. But the fact that they have held in there so long, them and Hagen's boys, they have been the rock of this formation. Swing the right up, so if we can outflank the enemy here. Alright, the enemy light infantry is routing or pulling back. Other dragoons can fire into the enemy flank, and then maybe my cavalry can charge into them. The enemy line infantry is still game, still hanging in there. Those guys could rest. Alright, we can fire into the flank of these Fusiliers now. Without really any risk. Can we charge into their flank? They're probably too tired, but we'll see. Charging through the stream. Come on, boys, get them! Ooh, artillery's firing on them too. When are we gonna hit that flank? We're so close. Alright, there we go. Charging in them. You can see their numbers are plummeting with that charge. That initial impact on the flank. Enemy morale is rapidly dropping. I would think they'll shatter very soon. Yep. Alright, enemy line is coming unbuckled, that's for sure. This is more of a frontal charge on their rear. Less of a flank charge, I guess, is what I mean, than I would like. But their morale is already incredibly low, so they will probably shatter here in a sec, too. Yep. Alright, you guys go charge the artillery. Infantry catch these guys in a vice. Really probably just the artillery that we need to defeat to win this thing. Just slap at them. Alright, they're retreating. Nice full charge right into the flank of the Fusiliers here as we continue the mop-up. Go! Charge! Charge! That charge did some good work on the enemy flank. Casualty numbers-wise, you can see their morale dropping rapidly as we chew through their flank more slowly. And shattered. I don't know if shattering enemy troops actually has any material impact on the battle results. It doesn't really seem to do much. Alright, we'll speed things up a bit. They're going to get presumably a volley off of artillery. And then retreat. Victory! Another one! That's 2! Alright, so the Rise of Fredrick battles so far have been pretty easy. We're on to number 3. I wonder if these are just sort of easy little scripted battles that you can kind of put a little story behind, which you don't really have on any of the other fights, and then also just, like, help you learn the battle, the game, if you just don't want to do the marching around campaign map stuff.
Bei Mollwitz rannte ich. Chotusitz marschierte ich durch die Nacht und triumphierte. Schlesien soll mein sein. Errungen, nicht ererbt.
Ein glorreicher Sieg, Eure Majestät. Die Österreicher werden keine andere Wahl haben, als sich an den Verhandlungstisch zu setzen.
Frieden ist nur gekaufte Zeit. Die Kaiserin wird den Verlust von Schlesien nicht so leicht vergessen. Und ich bin noch nicht fertig. Die Österreicher sind zurückgekehrt. Sie wägen uns kampflos und schwach, aber wir verfolgen jeden ihrer Schritte.
Wie ihr befohlen hattet, Eure Majestät, bedrängen von Zietens Husaren ihre Reihen und halten uns auf dem Laufenden. Unsere Agenten haben ihr Lager infiltriert und füttern den Feind mit gezielten Fehlinformationen.
Es ist Zeit. Der Feind muss glauben, dass wir noch immer hier waren. Wir marschieren heute Nacht. Kein Gerede, kein Rauchen, nicht einmal einen Mucks. Wenn die Sonne sich hebt, werden wir in der Schlachtreihe stehen, während die Österreicher noch ihren Kaffee trinken.
Okay. You tell him, Fritz. All right, so now instead of 3 brigades, we have 5, although not fully formed. Still 2 batteries of artillery. Looks like 4 regiments of cavalry. 3 of grenadiers. Okay, what's this fight look like? Not quite the ground I would like. I'm not sure. Let's see what the enemy has. Fusiliers. Some grenadiers, some hussars. They've got 4 batteries of artillery, so they have more artillery than we do this time around. They also have 2 of sharpshooters. This could be a tricky fight. Okay, so where is the best ground to hold ourselves at? So, I'm thinking rather than advance at all, we anchor ourselves to these homes here on the far left. We do have 1 unit across the open here. As much as I would like some high ground to defend, we'll probably try and charge our flank here, so put these dragoons in this town over here, give them some cover. Actually, probably shouldn't even face them like that, because that'll expose their flank to enemy artillery. So there are 2 cavalry units on the left, 2 on the right. Oh, we have 3 batteries, so it's not 2, it's 3. I don't like how spread out I am here. With no real reserve. I guess we'll have two regiments of reserves here. This is a much longer position than I would like to hold. Alright, speed things along while troops get into position. Probably a very stupid position, but we've got sort of a line of troops between this town through some hedges. Then our line veers right with a bit of an L in it, and then we form back up along this ridge in these positions here. I don't know, it doesn't seem like the smartest decision, but hey, I never said I was the smartest person. One unit on the right will have high ground advantages, so we can always swing the grenadiers around to flank the enemy if they come up in a bit of a trapdoor position. Perhaps putting some artillery up top would be smarter, maybe moving one of these batteries onto the high ground if they can get there in time. I like the idea of the enemy coming across our front and allowing us to fire down their line and enfilade them, if they do that. So we'll keep those 2 batteries here to do that. Try and push one battery up this way. Get them onto the high ground. In theory, they've got a road there to follow, so... I usually struggle in this game when I defend a long position. Usually the better path is to defend a narrow position. But we'll see. Alright, so we've got 1 infantry reserve on the left, 1 on the right. On Limba. Alright, we've got 1 battery with elevation. Okay. I don't love that I fired 2 volleys and done no damage. Should have waited till it were closer. Firing at Fusiliers here. 3 volleys and no damage? There we go. Some casualties. Alright, Beck's boys here are going to be in a little bit of a trouble. Good thing we've got reserves back here. Oh, one of those shells has skipped long and hit some of my cavalry. Great. Alright, my other batteries are in play now. Alright, the infantry is engaged. We left. Alright, this is perhaps a perfect example of why you don't deploy in long, thin lines, because I think I'm in trouble here. These guys are already getting wrecked by light infantry. God damn it. Enemy light infantry is hitting this whole right flank hard. And they're too close to regular infantry for me to melee them with cavalry either. Unless I just want to sacrifice a cavalry unit. Fuck it, do it. I can't have 2 light regiments wreck my whole left flank, or whole center, I guess. These enemy infantry are going to go long toward the main front. By the time my cavalry comes, I think they'll be engaged. We've already got that unit running. Well, that's not good. Hope maybe they can rout or rally. Fredrick is over here. But yeah, these infantry are going to march south, so maybe I can charge into the enemy cavalry. Maybe there'll be a opportunity for me to charge without getting wrecked. Get them, boys! It's a frontal charge, but they're light infantry, right? Alright, one more charge. Get the other enemy light infantry here. Oh, no. You're charging the wrong way. You're charging... God damn it, they got sucked into the main line. Well, that's not gonna work. They're done. Oh, no, they're not. They kept going. They recovered a bit. Oh, God. Right flank's in trouble. Right flank's in trouble. Can you pull back artillery as much as I don't want you to take a volley here. I don't know if you can get back. Oh, they're retreating. Never mind. Alright, so we did drive this enemy regiment back. And maybe shoot at the troops right in front of you. Advance on their flank. Alright, so our right flank is collapsing. Our left flank is doing maybe better. The enemy's charging us with grenadiers, so I'm not really sure. Morale has a slight advantage for us right now. Maybe, you know, volley the troops directly in front of you. That might be sound. I tried to pull the artillery on the right back. They got shattered. Some of my troops here did rally, though, under the eyes of Fredrick, so good for them. I don't know if he can go rally the cavalry there. Right flank's holding firm. Left flank is not. Do I have another regiment over here in reserve? I do. Alright, deploy these guys to refuse the line. Can these dragoons fight like infantry for a little bit? It's probably dumb, but... Alright, that enemy flank is in trouble. Sharpshooters driven off. Can we go charge them? Oh, they got cavalry out by the guns, so maybe don't go charge them, but maybe we can charge into the flank of the infantry. Alright, boys. Cavalry's doing its thing. Thankfully, these grenadiers don't have many men, so in terms of muskets on the line, the actual carbiners are in pretty good shape. They've also got really good cover. I'm going to charge them with infantry. Enemy cavalry's behind me. Fuck. Nice little volley on that cavalry before they got to our lines. Same here. I don't know if our brace will... It doesn't look like it. It looks like our boys are routing. But hey, we broke one of those enemy units. Go charge them in the rear. One of the enemy Grenzers was driven back. Our cuirassiers intercepted the charge for the hussars. We also charged into the flank of these Austrian Fusiliers and drove them back. Prussian lifeguards over here. Enemy cavalry charging the other flank. Alright, I think that's it. I think that'll be enough. The enemy still has some artillery on the ground and a couple fresh units of infantry, but my cuirassiers here did their job. Enemy does have dragoons out this way. They're fresh. Shift your guns to the enemy cavalry. Okay, my cuirassiers are running. They're kind of charging between our lines, strangely. No ammo left for those guys, so that's a problem. Alright, form up in a thicker line. You're going to melee some enemy troops, probably. Alright. I think we got this one. Just take a little time to get our troops into position to deliver the coup de grace. Fix bayonets and charge. You don't have any ammo left. The enemy artillery appears to be routing too. They're all flashing. We haven't actually engaged them yet, though. It looks like everything is retreating as far as I can see on the map. I guess these are the only ones that aren't blinking on the strategic map. Oh, there you go. Victory. It'd be nice if it would tell us how many casualties were fought or taken in any of these individual fights, but... So there you go. That's the third of the 4 chapters of the Rise of Fredrick campaign. We've got one more to go. That was the closest run thing so far, so we'll see how the fight for survival is.
Gott half mir vorzüglich bei Hohenfriedberg. Ich erhoffte mir, dass die Österreicher den Frieden suchen würden, wie sie es vor 3 Jahren bei Chotusitz taten. Jedoch bleibt ihr Schweigen Mord.
Eure Majestät! Eure Majestät! Österreichische Truppen besetzen die umliegenden Hügel. Sie versuchen, uns einzukreisen.
Weckt die Männer! Bereitet euch für ein sofortiges Gefecht vor. Wir müssen ihre Linie durchbrechen, bevor die Falle zuschnappt.
Feuer!
Okay. One more fight is all it will take to win the campaign for my boys. All right, we got a nice little elevation here. Some ridges over there. Let's do this. About the same size unit for us. The enemy might have more, I'm not sure. Okay, I know what I'm going to do. We shall explain momentarily. First things first. Pause. Halftime. Fusiliers up on this elevation. Musketeers on the front of the elevation. Grenadiers refuse the flank to make sure they can't just go around us. Extend onto this fence line. Extend on that fence line. Refuse the flank. And then extend there. Alright. The rest of the boys will go into reserve here. Here. Fredrick will go into the center here, where there's the most troops at risk. Put some cavalry on, I guess, this flank here. Cavalry on the other flank. To make sure the enemy can't just go around us, because that seems to be what they like to do with their cavalry. I think everybody has orders. So that's what we're moving to while we wait to get into position. What's the enemy coming at us with? Grenadiers, Fusiliers, Grenadiers. More Grenadiers than usual. They definitely have an artillery advantage over us. We've got, what, just the 2 batteries, and they've got 3 at least. 2 sharpshooter regiments, which are typically the bane of my existence. I mean, they definitely outnumber me here on this fight, I think. Definitely, I think. I'm very decisive with my language. But hopefully we can hold with the advantage of territory. Oh, I actually have 3 cavalry units. Okay. I want to deploy one of them kind of in the middle, because I would like to charge the enemy light troops before they can devastate me like they did last time. Guns are unlimbered. Okay. Whoa. Plenty of artillery shells coming there. I will sacrifice a cavalry unit to wreck their light infantry. Okay, artillery's opening up. Move our cavalry out front to deal with these light infantry before they can hurt us too bad. Oh god, we're going to take like a full volley from like 3 regiments, aren't we? This is probably dumb. But Marshal Ney would be proud. Alright, we'll oblique left. Oh god. Oh god. Are we even going to survive to contact? We did. Survived long enough to take a chunk out of the enemy light infantry, but we are definitely toast. If they survive, it'll only because we retreat before the enemy has time to reload. Didn't survive long enough to avoid the shattering. Interesting, the enemy went almost like their light formations kind of scattered a bit. That's not great. They survived long enough so that there's still an effective fighting force here. That was definitely not what I had hoped for out of my cavalry charge. At least they're about to retreat now. These guys are like point blank. Maybe you should shoot at them. Fredrick's boys have taken some casualties I don't like. They're charging me. I've got 2 grenadier regiments in reserve if I need them. I guess I might as well. Oh, shoot. The cavalry's coming. Alright, I don't think this will count as a flank charge. I'm not really sure. I'm hoping they're bracing. Alright, the enemy's retreating. Alright, you should really charge. Their flank is right in the air. I would think that would be an easy flank charge. There you go. Alright, so 1 grenadier regiment is retreating. And he's trying to envelop my left. Those boys are not being shot at yet. I think I put the reserves in the right place. Perhaps Fredrick as well. Right flank, 1 regiment's holding the line there where the cavalry, where the artillery is. Multiple enemy troops in the center are retreating. Left flank is finally taking some casualties, but still doing pretty good. Hopefully Fredrick's presence here is making the difference. Some of their troops are rallying and coming back. That enemy unit was routed. My cavalry can come up on the flank now and maybe outflank their right. Maybe push them back in detail. We shall see. The only bad thing is this is a very narrow front, so they're not doing as much damage with their volleys as they probably should be. Those guys will break before long. We'll put another regiment in behind them. Alright, those grenadiers on the right have rallied. Alright, hit the enemy cavalry in the rear. Preempt their effectiveness as a charging force. Left flank still holding, low on ammo, but doing good damage. Hey, maybe don't just sit there and take it. I really wish the AI had a little bit more capability. All right, first lead regiment's routing. I'm not surprised about that. So what do I do here? The enemy cavalry is not... With the one charge, there's like 3 other regiments that could charge and become a problem. These guys have no ammo. They're just gonna... Are they out or none? They're presenting their muskets like they're gonna fire, but I don't think they have anything to shoot. I'm not sure why some of the units enter these fights with like next to no ammo, and some of them seem to have reasonable amounts. These guys were blinking white, so I was assuming they were close to retreating, but now they're not, so I don't love that I just threw those guys into a headlong charge on the enemy infantry. But they drove them back. Can they get them to shatter? Yep. Those guys have pretty good morale for troops that are retreating. Yeah, that cavalry's dead, but... I didn't mean to march you there. I just wanted you to fire at them. That was a point-blank volley. Ah! Literally like 2 feet away. Just wreck 'em, boys. Okay, left flank's in some trouble. I need more troops there with ammo. Okay. Alright, you guys need to just form up and charge, I guess, because you have nothing left to shoot. They're not going to shoot? Just receive the charge? This one enemy regiment here on the left flank has given me the most consternation. Let them fire one more volley and then charge. Morale is better on all those units. Maybe not the far left flank here, but I don't have any ammo, so these guys got to do work. Alright, so this charge is going to favor the enemy, except my boys are coming in also to try and help. The cavalry's coming in to try and help, and it does. Drives the enemy back. All right, we need to go finish the enemy the enemy artillery out, and then I think this thing's done. I think we'll have won. March, boys. They got one battery back here. That's morale looks good. Do you not have any ammo left? Why aren't you shooting? Alright, let's speed things up a bit. I don't think there's any... I mean, the enemy in theory could rally, but... It's over! We've won! Win the 4th battle in the Rise of Fredrick campaign. Do we get like a little cinematic outro?
Schlesien ist unser. Mein Reich ruht sich. Mein Heer bewies sich immer und immer wieder auf dem Schlachtfeld.
Eure Majestät, die Österreicher werden den Verlust von Schlesien nicht so leicht ertragen können. Die Kaiserin wird nach neuen Verbündeten suchen.
Dann müssen wir uns vorbereiten. Dieser Krieg mag vorbei sein. Jedoch soll der nächste nicht um die Verteidigung von Schlesien gefochten werden, sondern um Preußen selbst.
Well, there you go. I think that's more geared toward, hey, you want to fight a quick battle that you don't have to, like, build a campaign around. Because they don't really have a sandbox in the game yet, so I assume that's how that's intended to be played, but in any event, I do enjoy Master of Command. It's a fun little quick game. It's, you know, it's not flawless by any stretch, but it's a nice little thing to play, you know? I hope you guys enjoyed. I think we're going to wrap this up here. But until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying once again, thank you very much for watching. And until next time, I'm out. Bye-bye!